Yes, if you're new to Deception Bytes, hit the like and subscribe button and be sure to hit the bell to be notified of future videos. If you wish to support the channel, the links are in the description below. Now, fasten your seatbelt. Here we go.
You didn't think I was going to post today, did you? I fooled ya. Today is Monday, March 4th, and we are going to cover the Q post from today. But first, we missed 3 little posts from yesterday. Q posted after I had uploaded my second part 2 video. So we're going to just knock those out of the way first, and then I'm going to go right on into March 4th. Now, there's only going to be one video tonight. I'm getting a late start, and it's been a really long day. Hopefully, I'll be able to do better tomorrow. I do have some Q-related news, but I think by the time I finish this, I'm going to be too tired to do another video, but who knows? Sometimes I get energized doing this, so we'll see. But anyway, here we are at the first one that I missed from March 3rd, and it's showing a video clip of Devin Nunes on Fox News. Now, basically, it's about Devin Nunes, and he's talking about Cohen, and because Cohen, the Dems are going to have him meet behind closed doors. So possibly, maybe so the Dems can claim that he gave them all sorts of evidence of collusion. Who knows? Who knows? But anyway, let's take a look. I'm not going to play all of this because it's long and it's unnecessary, really. So Representative Devin Nunes says Michael Cohen is testifying in a private setting with no classified information. So this begs the question, if he doesn't have classified information, then why is he meeting in a private setting? Doesn't really make sense to me. I don't think it makes sense to anyone. But let's listen to what Devin Nunes has to say. This is 16 minutes long, so there's no way I'm going to play all of this. But if you go to Fox News and search for Devin Nunes, you should be able to find it with no problem at all if you want to listen to it in full. And maybe you've already heard it in full if you are a listener of Fox News.
And we begin this morning with former Trump attorney Michael Cohen, scheduled for another round of now closed-door testimony before the House Intelligence Committee this Wednesday. This as Democrats ramp up their own investigation into the proposed Trump Tower project in Moscow. Joining me right now in an exclusive interview is the ranking member of that committee. He is Republican Congressman from California, Devin Nunes. He also sits on the House Ways and Means Committee. And Congressman, it's always a pleasure to see you.
Great to be with you.
Thanks so much for joining us. First, reaction to Michael Cohen this past week, and give us a sense of why it's important to go from the public hearing last week. Now he's going to be in front of your committee behind closed doors this upcoming week.
So remember, he was in public with the Oversight Committee. Then he came behind closed doors with us for no reason at all. This is not a man who has any classified information whatsoever. We interviewed him for some 8-9 hours. In fact, Republicans were pretty much done with interviewing after a couple sessions. We didn't have any more questions to ask him. We're not sure why he's coming back, but he'll be back this week once again in a classified setting for someone who has no classified information. So from my perspective, it's all about building out a narrative. They want to keep it behind closed doors so that they can conveniently say, well, we can't talk about what happened behind closed doors, when the reality is we can talk about whatever we want to talk about because the guy has no classified information. It's ridiculous.
Now, there is the crux of everything he has to say, that he's meeting behind closed doors, and there's absolutely no reason for him to meet behind closed doors. They've already interviewed him. They've asked him every question and exhausted it, but he's coming back again to meet behind closed doors, which is completely ridiculous because he doesn't have any classified information. There's no reason that everyone can't know what he has to say. So, and Devin Nunes is saying, and rightly so, that he believes it's so that they can maintain the narrative of Russian collusion, because they can say, well, we can't really talk about what he said behind closed doors because, it was behind closed doors. When really, there was no classified information and there was no real reason for him to be behind closed doors in the first place. So that is the crux of everything that he is saying here. And let's go back to Q. So this is all that Q provided us, but I did like this comment by The Oppressor Liber from Disclosure Italia website. He said, "We know what the Dems will do. They will claim Cohen gave them all sorts of evidence of Trump-Russia collusion. This is the only reason they have him testifying behind closed doors. So ridiculous. Representative Nunes pointed out there's no reason he should be behind closed doors. So again, this is just more posturing on, the side of the Democrats so that they can maintain this ridiculous narrative. They're going to draw it out until 2020, unless something happens in the meantime, which we are waiting for, because they want to keep this in the forefront. They want to keep this narrative going, and they want to just tie Trump up, in red tape and, all these investigations. And that's really illegal in America. You can't just start investigating someone in the hopes that you're going to find a crime. You have to have probable cause. They have no probable cause. None. Because they've been investigating this for 2 years. And they kept saying, Mueller's going to bring him down. Yep, he's going to prison and he's going to come down. And so is Donald Jr. and his whole family. They're going to, and of course, when the Mueller investigation turns out to be a bust, then they start saying, oh, well, it was a very narrow investigation, so we need to just keep going here. We need to investigate their family and their finances and taxes, all their past tax returns and so forth. And it's ridiculous. Who does that without probable cause? They do. They do, because it has nothing to do with anything that Trump has done. They know he hasn't done anything. If he wasn't clean, he's got to be the best vetted person in the history of, the presidency. They have looked at this guy and looked and looked and looked, and if there was anything there that they could get him on, my gosh, they would have gotten him. It's, but they're not going to give it up. They're not. So let's go on, and this is the next one, and Q is giving us a link to a Twitter account, and it's the Twitter of Mark Levin. I think that's how you pronounce it. It's not Levine. I think it's Levin. Again, I'm not a TV watcher, and he said on the schedule Q. So the reason he said on the schedule Q is because he wanted to look at the schedule and see what he was referring to, and he led us to this tweet. I've clipped it out to save us a little bit of time. And it says, see you tonight. Thanks, on Life, Liberty, and Levin on Fox News at 10 p.m. Eastern. Now, what this was, Trump mentioned Mark Levin twice at the CPEC. And Q confirms Levin interviewed a young man from the Walk Away movement. And that is what he is referring to here. He had this young man on the show, interviewed him, and that was at 10 p.m. Eastern yesterday, I do believe. Yes, the 3rd of March. So I didn't have an opportunity to see that. Maybe you did. But that is what that is about, and that's what Q was leading us to. He probably wanted us to go and to listen to this young man, and I have listened to a YouTube video, and quite impressive. So anyway, that is the Walk Away movement. That is the young liberals, or not necessarily young liberals, but just liberals that have walked away, or Democrats, liberal Democrats, same difference, walked away from the movement and have become Republican because the Democratic Party is no longer what it once was, and certainly moving in a direction that many feel uncomfortable with in terms of socialism, which that's not going to fly in America. So let's go on. And here is the last one. Now, this is the young man in question here. And I cannot play it because of the music. But what I'm going to do, if you look in the description section under the video, there will be a link to this video. I will place that there, and no, I won't forget. I will be sure to do that so that you can watch it. It's about 45 minutes long, well worth listening to, but certainly it's beyond the scope of, I don't want to just have my video playing someone else's video. That's just not right. And aside from that, there's music in it, and I'm not sure. So, there you are. I will leave that link though, and I would encourage you, if you have the time, to listen to it, especially if you are a Democrat that has walked away from the movement. I think that you would find this very, very interesting. So let's move on, and we are on to today's posts. Yay! All right, let's look at this. Here is the first one from today, and Q is making reference to an anon who is asking Q a question. Not necessarily Q, but he's asking a question, he or she. Can someone explain this Whitaker shit? Pardon my French. Q said he was taking on a new role in the DOJ, now quits suddenly? And I wondered about that too, to tell you the truth. I had that very same question because I thought, I distinctly recall Q saying that Whitaker was going to be staying on in the DOJ. So what's happening with this? Well, we have the answer now because Q has let us in on that and answered the question for us. And Q says, you have a short memory, Anon. He did remain on in a senior role as stated by the DOJ. Duration stated? Why are key positions always interchanging? Logical thinking by oneself clarifies easy to answer questions. Q. So Q's a little bit testy here, I would say. Not testes, testy. He's kind of, a little bit, I don't know. And I don't know if this person, if his answer was justified, because I think that's a viable question as far as I'm concerned. I had the same thing, and I don't consider myself, a non-logical, I'm logical, I believe, to a certain extent. So anyway, let's go take a look at this, and let's get the answer from Q. Now that it's explained, I understand perfectly well. Politico, Whitaker to stay at Justice Department following stint as acting Attorney General. And that's what he was. He stepped in after Sessions as the acting Attorney General. He was there until Barr was confirmed and took over. Now, former acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker will remain at the Justice Department despite William Barr's being sworn in to lead the department. Whitaker, who served as chief of staff to then Attorney General Jeff Sessions until President Donald Trump tapped him for the acting role in November, is now a senior counselor in the Associate Attorney General's office, a department spokesperson said Friday. So he stayed on, actually. There's no duration. That Q never stated a duration. He never said, okay, well, he's going to be staying on for like a month. He's going to be staying on for a week or 2 weeks. He didn't state a duration, but he was to stay to bring William Barr up to speed with everything that was going on. Then he's moved to another position. Obviously, he's got, he's needed elsewhere. So let's just go on here. Attorney General William Barr was sworn in at the White House on Thursday after the Senate voted 54-45 to confirm him. The office of the Associate Attorney General, whose titular role is currently filled on an acting basis, oversees, among other things, the DOJ's divisions on civil rights, antitrust, tax, and the environment. So it doesn't state anywhere here. Says that he was a controversial player in the president's cabinet, drawing backlash from congressional Democrats who protested his last public statements that were critical of special counsel Robert Mueller's Russia investigation, an inquiry Whitaker oversaw during his time as acting attorney general. Democrats also attacked Whitaker for his time serving as an advisory board member for a patent company banned from the industry by the Federal Trade Commission for fraud. The former acting attorney general was the first major Trump official to face grilling by the House Democratic majority, testifying in a contentious hearing before the House Judiciary Committee last Friday. Whitaker's career plans until now have been something of a mystery. On Monday, a representative of the National Sheriff's Association offered the outgoing acting attorney general a gift after he wrapped up a speech to the organization during a Washington, D.C. conference. Great. Is it a new job? Whitaker quipped. So let's go back to Q. And Q's going to answer some things for us in the next couple posts. So he said, duration stated? No, there's no duration stated. Why are key positions always interchanging? It's game plan. There's people are needed here for a certain reason for a certain amount of time, and they're moved somewhere else where they can be better used and better, suited, whatever. Logical thinking by oneself clarifies easy to answer questions. Q. So Anards are questioning the departure of Whitaker from the DOJ, but Q just said he was going to stay on. He did not state how long he would stay on for. He stayed to get Barr up to speed and is now departing to take a position elsewhere. Another role as an actor in a movie, and Q is going to use those same terms in a minute. He could be helping with the upcoming tribunals, perhaps. Now, that's just a surmisal on my part. I don't know. He could be helping Huber. We don't know. And that's just the thing. We don't know. So let's go on from there because Q's not finished with this subject. And so Q answers this anon who says, remain, period, then go, period, but we really liked him, Q. And Q responds and says, departure from the DOJ doesn't mean he's not on the team and still in the game, or, by our analogy, an actor in the movie. Q. So Q has just answered the question there. Just because he's departed from the DOJ doesn't mean he's not still on the team. So he's needed elsewhere. It says, doesn't mean he's not on the team and still in the game, or by our analogy, an actor in the movie. And remember what Q has said right from the start. What makes a good movie? Great actors. Great actors. So there you go. He's still around, and he's going to show up, just like a bad penny. Not saying that he's a bad penny, just he's going to show up again. I think Sessions is going to show up again too. So remember, a lot of this stuff is for optics only. It's for the deep state. They want it to appear one way. They're getting you busy with this hand while this hand is doing something different. And so, yeah, let's go on. And still, we're not done with the subject here. Q is responding to another anon who says, acting, temporary role, cause destruction, then move on. Hard to hit a moving target, anon. And Q responds and says, Scaramucci model, which we've looked at, I was going to say 1,000 times before, but that would be a little bit of an exaggeration. Probably not 1,000 times, but we've looked at it a few. Scaramucci model, temporary hire by design. So he's telling us that he was meant to be a temporary hire. He was never meant to fill in that position full time. He was meant to be temporary. But Q has just told us he's still part of the team. He's still an actor in the movie rather. So, shadow to Sessions by design. He was a shadow to Sessions by design. Public will become aware. Document dump. Q. So there's going to be a document dump coming, which will make the public aware. And they're going to be aware of all these things. It's all going to come out. Because remember, they have it all. Q tells us that repeatedly. We have it all. All. And you know what all means. It means all. All right, let's go on. And this is interesting. Q, again, responding to an anon who says, Q, sometimes I think it's hard for y'all to emphasize with, or to empathize. I'm sorry. It's getting late and I'm getting tired, but I definitely want to do this and I'm into it. It's just, I gotta sometimes, prod the little brain. Q. Sometimes I think it's hard for y'all to empathize with us. Y'all operating from a position of knowledge. We are in the dark. We are desperate for truth and justice. And you know what? I can empathize with this Anon that's saying that because it's true. We are sort of in the dark, but really, not really. Because we have, you think of it, if we didn't have Q, we wouldn't have a clue what was going on. We really wouldn't. We would not have a clue. We would listen and we'd hear all this stuff about Trump and we'd be wondering. So, yeah, we have a heck of a lot more than others. Now, Q says, responds and says, define back channel. Q. So, let's define it. Back channel, let me get this a little bit bigger. I know, you've got little teeny phones. Some of you are on iPads, on phones, tablets, and some of you are watching on TV, and some of you are watching on your computer or laptop. But those of you on the phone have the hardest time, so I try to make it as big as I can. All right, back channel. And we're particularly concerned with the first definition, a secondary or covert route for the passage of information. So, and used in the sentence, the agency offered a reliable back channel to Washington. Okay, so what Q has done by communicating with us on 8chan is he's provided a back channel to provide us with information that we would not normally have. We would not normally have known any of this stuff, really. And I'm not putting down anybody's intelligence, and I'm not putting down my own intelligence, but we would not have a clue if it was not for Q. All this information, sure, it's open source, it's out there, but without somebody pointing and asking us the questions, we wouldn't know what to search for. There's so much information in this world. It's very hard to find something unless you know what you're looking for, and we didn't. So it took Q asking those questions for us to start searching for the answers. And he has provided a very reliable and effective back channel from POTUS and Q to us, the Anons, or at least to the Anons on 8chan, and then others like myself, and there are many, many, many others trying to disseminate that information out and get it to a broader audience, because not everybody is going to feel comfortable navigating around 8chan. And I get that. And I think Q gets that. So there are people that take that information and try to get it into a form that's a little bit easier to understand and push it out to the people. And you are probably listening to several people that are doing the same as I am and getting an idea, and then you are probably talking to others about it. That's how it works. So it's I mean, we have to think about where we'd be without Q. I mean, we're very, very fortunate, because I don't think, honestly, if we were going through this with no information, it would be awful, absolutely awful. 8chan acts as a back channel for POTUS and Q to feed Anons, who in turn disseminate to others. We are being fed information that the general public does not have, and that is true. All you need to do is ask people. They haven't heard of half of the stuff that we discuss. Not even a quarter, a tenth, an eighth, So, and I also liked this the oppressor Lieber's comment as well. Frustrated Anons ask Q to empathize. Empathize. I'm sorry. I used to have a speech impediment, and I have worked through it and it's gone, but every now and then, and especially if I'm tired, it pops up. So if you're wondering, that is why I sometimes stumble. And the later it gets, the more I stumble over words. So I apologize for that. Q simply says define back channel. The whole point of Q communicating with us via the chants is to keep us in the light while the takedown of the deep state has been taking place behind the scenes. Imagine if we didn't have Q. Also, Q reminding Anons that there will be a public document dump coming up. It's all going to come out into the public light. Q told us over the weekend the stage has been set. Whitaker was a hatchet man who shadowed Sessions for 2 years. His role was intentional. Think Scaramucci model. So, good post there, and great. It just kind of puts us at ease, I think, a little bit, hearing that from Q, that, look, you know what? We're lucky to have this information. We've got information coming to us that's not available to the general public. And yeah, okay, Q understands, but he can't give us all the information because we're not the only ones that are looking at those boards. You know, you can bet that Hillary's out there looking, or having somebody look, Obama, all of the deep state. They're all aware of what is being written. So Q can't just tell all of the plans out there because he would be informing the enemy what he's doing. That would be stupid. Loose lips sink ships. There you go. So let's move on, shall we? All right, now this is very interesting. Hussein gave the order to start the spy campaign. It was logged officially 2 times. One time domestic, one time foreign, and that would be through Five Eyes. Fisk judge, White House meeting. Well, he's not asking a question. He's telling us that the FISA judge, the FISA court judge, the one you get your FISA application ready to file to get a warrant for surveillance, and you take that to the FISA court, and that judge decides. But that judge, now whoever it is, we don't know because there was 4 people that signed. We don't know which one it was, but that FISA judge met with Obama in the White House. Was that so that Obama could tell him to rubber stamp it? I bet it was. I bet you any money it was. White House visitor logs are important. Yes, they are. And those visitor logs should tell us if that FISA judge met with Obama in the White House prior to approving the FISA warrant. However, Obama's not stupid either. Obama, well, let's read here. Hussein Library classified document move, and it's not a question, it's a statement. He moved those documents and the logs to the Hussein, to the library where they were classified so that nobody could get at them. Now, why would he do that? What's so important about that? Attempt to shelter, protect? Well, yeah. Why else? Why else would he do it? Who has authority to obtain? Well, interestingly enough, POTUS does. Yeah, so have no fear. The more you know. Q. The order to spy on Trump, Carter Page, and Papadopoulos, yes, I said Papadopoulos, that's right, Papadopoulos, came from Obama. It was logged twice, once domestically and once foreign through Five Eyes. There is a paper trail. There's always a paper trail. One of the Fisk judges met with Obama at the White House. That's a question, but it's not. He did. Was he told to approve the FISA warrant by Hussein? Yes, I believe so. The logs will show this information. However, Obama moved these logs to his library where they remain classified. However, POTUS does have the authorization to get these records. Now, this is an article that was in Big League Politics, and I just cut out the title, the headline. Confirmed. Trump can get the unmasking records out of Obama library. Oh, well, then, I bet you they're just messing their pants right now. Yeah. All righty. Now we can go on. Now, let's look at this. And Q is giving us a link to a YouTube video, and he's saying, promises made, period, promises kept, period, Q. Let's go look.
Want to do things. You know, I keep hearing about investigations, fatigue. Like almost from the time I announced I was going to run, they've been giving us this investigation fatigue. It's been a long time. They got nothing, zero. You know why? Because there is nothing. But they can play that game, but we can play it better. Because we have a thing called the United States Senate. And a lot of very questionable things were done between leaks of classified information and many other elements that should not have taken place. And all you're going to do is end up in back and forth and back and forth, and 2 years is going to go up, and we won't have done a thing. If that happens, then we're going to do the same thing, and government comes to a halt. There are many things we can get along on without a lot of trouble, that we agree very much with them and they agree with us. I would like to see bipartisanship. I'd like to see unity. And I think we have a very good chance of, and maybe not on everything, but I think we have a very good chance of seeing that.
If they start investigating you, that you can play that game and investigate them.
Better than them.
Can you compartmentalize that?
And I think I know more than they know.
Can you compartmentalize that and still continue to work with them for the benefit of the rest of the country?
No.
Or are all bets off?
No. If they do that, then it's just all it is a warlike posture.
And so then, wait a minute, then the follow-up, I'm sorry, John.
You heard my answer. Go ahead.
Well, since it's Jim, I'll let it go.
Okay.
All right. You gotta love them. Promises made, promises kept. The Dems can play that, but he can play it better. So, and he says, and I know more than they do. You know, he comes across as this pompous ass, really. But I don't think he is. I really don't think he is. And let me tell you, if I felt, I don't know, I'm somebody that I can pick up on stuff like that. And, you know, I just don't get that from Trump. Sure, he's really confident about himself. Absolutely he is. Does he say things at times that maybe he shouldn't? Maybe. Maybe he could, you know, word it a little bit more tactfully, but he gets the job done. We didn't want another politician. If we did, Hillary had been in there, right? They never thought she would lose. And she's still not over losing. I mean, she just won't let that go. I mean, my gosh, could you imagine living with that woman? I mean, it just irritates me listening to her over and over and over and over again. It's always a different excuse. Oh, you know, women's husbands wouldn't let them vote for me. And like, are you kidding me? Just always, every excuse in the book. I mean, it would drive me crazy. Anyway, let's go on. So here we have this by Q, and he's letting us know that this is from a past bread. This is something that he posted before that he is reposting. And it says, is there a benefit? Think public optics to allowing your enemy to open the front door? Warlike posture activated? Thank you for playing. Q. Well, I got thinking about this, and I got thinking, okay, if I had an enemy and I knew that the enemy was outside of my house, but they never tried to, you know, open my door or try to get in my windows or, you know, in through another way, I would let them be. But if they tried walking in my front door, that's an act of war. Really. Your enemy tries to open your front door and walk in, oh, that's an act of aggression. Don't you think? So I think that that's where Q is getting at here, that, you know, Trump is allowing for the public optics to let his enemy walk in the front door so that he has to respond, right? That's what he's doing. And warlike posture activated because they've walked in through your door. You know, you don't let your enemies walk in your front door. You don't let them come through the window. You don't let them come through the back gate. You don't let them tunnel underground. But especially if they tried getting in your front door, are you kidding me? Yeah. Well, you know, not allowed to own a gun here in Canada, but if I lived in the States and somebody that I knew was an enemy and meant me harm tried to get in my front door, they would be met with a gun. I'm sorry. I know people here get very upset with me when I say that, but I will protect myself and what belongs to me. I don't really care about my belongings, but you know, my pets and me, yeah, I'll protect us. So that's just the way it is, and to me that makes perfect sense what he's saying there. War posture activated. They're the ones that came in. They're the ones that started this. All right. Now this is very confusing, all right? We're going to be going through a few really confusing posts here. I don't know what they mean. I'm not going to pretend to know what they mean, but I did have somebody send me something, and they know who they are. Thank you for that. They sent me this, and I do think it does have something to do with this, multiple granularity locking. Now, this is the post by Q, and there's going to be several that are similar coming up, and then we're going to get back into something interesting. Not that many to go through left, but he said protect MGL SJAH_X dash 830198374, and then in kill brackets -48. D fire _good location assist _good Q. Now I can tell you right there, this isn't meant for us. It's meant for someone else, because not only does Q communicate with us, but he also communicates with operatives that are out there and also the deep state. So I don't know who this is meant for, but it's not meant for us, because if it was meant for us, I think that we would have some clue of how to decode it, which it seems from what I've found out, nobody has any clue how to decode it. But somebody sent me something, and I do think that this may have something to do with it. So let's go take a look at this. Now, I'm not a computer scientist, and I don't really understand this, and I'm not really upset about not understanding it. Maybe some of you do. If you do, then maybe you can let us know if we might be on the right track. If not, then say so too, because I can assure you, out of everybody that's listening, there are probably at least a few computer experts. Now, multiple granularity locking, and this from WikiLeaks. In computer science, multiple granularity locking, MGL, is a locking method used in database management systems and relational databases. In MGL, locks are set on objects that contain other objects. MGL exploits the hierarchical nature of the contains relationship. For example, a database may have files which contain pages, which further contain records. This can be thought of as a tree of objects where each node contains its children. A lock on such as a shared or exclusive lock locks the targeted node as well as all of its descendants. Multiple granularity locking is usually used with a non-strict two-phase locking to guarantee serializability. So it's interesting because it has lock modes and it goes through here. Now, I don't know, but I bet you, I know there's got to be some computer scientists out there that are listening. So if you are, and if you know, let me know if you think that could be a possibility, that this could be what Q is referring to here. Protect MGL. And then he's giving this. Could this be a file name? I don't know. -48. I don't know. Is that -48 hours? Don't know. Dfire _good. Location assist _good Q. So again, I don't think it's meant for us. I don't know exactly what it means. That's my best guess, and I wouldn't even have found that, but somebody sent that to me. Again, thank you. And personally, I think that that's what it is, but we'll see. Now, here we are again, and Q is referencing the post below that we just looked at, and he's adding this to it. MGL, change route under assist P underscore 193 Q. Again, there's no sense in me pretending to know what that means because I don't. But if there's anybody that does or has any idea whatsoever, place it, put it up below in the comments, because I know most of the main people read the comments. A lot of the people that are here every night, that listen every night, they read the comments. And I know that because they leave little comments, and I see the same names all the time, and I get to know their little quirky posts, and it's actually quite fun. Some of you, I just want to give you a great big hug. Just the comments that you leave, you're just very kind people. So anyway, let's go on. Now, and you know something too I wanted to mention. I very, very rarely get a nasty comment. Very rarely. And it's amazing, actually, because I go to some other channels and I read through the comments and I go, ooh, ouch. Like, I don't know. They just, some channels just attract all this. But really, honestly, I used to, when I first started, I got, a few nasty, but they're gone. So, yeah. I like the group of people that we have that is the ones that are, listening all the time and commenting. Good group of people. All right. So here's another one. And again, he's making reference to the one we just looked at, and he's adding clear all nons, minus 48, Q. Again, I wish I could tell you what it means. I don't. And again, dark pattern active, minus 48. Limit, no nons, Q. And here's the next one. Battery A underscore roof 1A. Battery F underscore ground 9G. Active underscore commence. Track report 2. Track confirm 2. Minus 48 dark. Q. Now, here it says active commence. So it seems to me like this is an operation that is ongoing, that he is giving orders to someone. And that's how it seems to me anyway. It's evidently not meant for us. Although, at some point, we may know exactly what he's talking about here, because that's happened quite a bit. He'll say something cryptic, nobody will have a clue, and then future comes, future proofs past. It makes sense to us then. But if he wanted it to make sense to us now, I think he would have given us a few more clues. All right. And here's the next one. Public comms prevent. Is he saying prevent public communications? Switch private. So switch to private communications. Underscore reg underscore C. FS on incoming. Q. Again, don't know. Now we're on to some things. It's interesting because once he said public communications prevent, switch to private, then all this kind of cryptic stuff stopped, and we've got different sorts of drops. I think we've got a couple more to go through here, but it's interesting. I don't know, but let me know what you guys think about what it could possibly mean. Okay, and then we have the next post, and this I think you will find interesting. I really think you're going to find this interesting. We have two left. This is the second one, and then we have one more. All right. Now, this really left me, okay, I'm going to use it again, gobsmacked. It really did. And if anyone knows another word besides gobsmacked, because to me that just seems like the best word, but I use it all the time. It's getting old. There's got to be another word. Okay, look at this. Gmail. Remember, their symbols will be their downfall. Remember that? And, symbols run the world. They really do. They run the world. Like when you see that little swoosh mark, you know it's Nike. Basically, and because I studied, art and new media, I really understand this about symbols and their importance. Because when I used to have to make logos and things for people, and when you do that, that logo has to be something memorable that people can look at the logo. They don't have to read your company name. They know by the logo who you are. And those companies are successful because, like Target, when you see a red circle with a dot in the middle, you go, oh, that's Target. There's just certain brands that we know. We don't have to see the name. We just see the symbol. We know. So look at this. Here's the Masonic Royal Rich Apron. There is the symbol for Gmail. Very, very close, isn't it? And of course we can say, oh, but that's just a little envelope. That's made to look like a little envelope. Well, why is it red? I don't know. Is it meant to mirror the Masonic Royal Rich Apron? I would say yes. And look at Facebook. And then look at Masonic Tubal Cain. I would say they're pretty close, except for the little thumbs up there. Yep. And look at this. Now there's too many here to be coincidence. Look at the Apple App Store, and then look at the Android Product Store, and then look at the logo for Freemasons. Now look at Google Chrome. Now, I've always recognized that as a 666 because it's really evident to me, and it's always been very evident to me. And if you look at the symbol for Ottawa, Canada, they have a symbol that is very, very much like that. It's 666. Don't believe me? Look it up. Ottawa, Canada. Absolutely. And you can't doubt that this is a globalist country. Absolutely. It didn't used to be. Sure is now. So here is Divine King sign 666 and Google Chrome. That's definitely a 666. And interesting, there's the seal of Satan, which looks surprisingly a lot like Google Play. And here is Google GPS, which looks a lot like, the Eye of Providence, the Eye of Ra, the evil eye. I mean, it's the eye of, they call it the eye of God. It's not. And yeah, very, very interesting here. Very interesting. I am somebody that loves to study this sort of thing. So this really, really caught my attention and surprised me that I've never seen this before. Now, I did recognize that Google Chrome was a 666. I mean, that's pretty easy for me to see. But I guess I'd never seen, for Facebook, I'd never seen the seal for the Masonic Tubal Cain, so I didn't know. But yeah, interesting stuff here. Now, the next thing that Q provides us with is this, Reddit Premium. Reddit Premium gives you an ad-free experience, special benefits, and directly supports Reddit. The more Reddit is user-supported, the freer we are to make Reddit the best it can be. Get Reddit Premium. Now, not sure why this is included yet, to tell you the truth. Maybe it's this. I don't know. Oh, well, here's the pyramid. I bet you that's why. There's the pyramid. There is a dolphin, and there is the illumination coming from the top of the pyramid, which is the eye, the all-seeing eye of it. Some people say it's God. It's not. It's Lucifer. There is Saturn. Saturn, again, associated with satanic, and there is a piece of cake. Don't know. Flower. Yeah, interesting. There is the guy from Monopoly game, which, interestingly enough, do you remember when Monopoly game, like I played it as a kid, and I'm sure all of you did, a lot of people play it as adults, but remember when the banker used to have a monocle? That I wasn't making a 666 sign, I was trying to make a monocle. Remember that? Well, apparently, he no longer has a monocle and never did. If you want to, really have your mind blown, look up the Mandela effect. And some of the examples are stupid, but some of them I can't explain. So anyway, look up the Mandela effect. Yeah, he never had a monocle. Do you remember him with a monocle or without a monocle? I know that this is absolutely outside of the realm of Q, but it's interesting nonetheless. All right. Oh, yes. And there's the little, look at that symbol there. Interesting. All right. Now, he's given us 2 links to look at. So let's look at them. Let's go now. Here we go. All right. Oh, yes. Google continues work on controversial China search engine report. Google admits it didn't tell Nest users about built-in microphone. Ooh, I didn't know that. But was never intended to be secret. Well, then why didn't they tell users about it? If it wasn't intended to be secret, don't you think you would tell people? Google could face a backlash over privacy after admitting that Nest users were not told about the existence of a microphone on their devices. It's a good thing I know that now because I wanted to get a Nest. So glad I know that. Google is reportedly continuing work on a search engine in China, according to an internal investigation by tech giant's employees, putting the controversial project back into the spotlight after it was abandoned following condemnation from lawmakers in both parties. The initiative, known internally as Project Dragonfly, was said to be ready for release by April 2019, but media leaks on Google's plans to comply with Chinese censorship rules in order to launch the engine brought intense opposition from within its own ranks as well as from elected officials. When asked about the project in December during a House Judiciary Committee hearing, CEO Sundar Pichai denied any immediate launch plans but did not rule out a future release. Amid media reports that work continues on the initiative, Google says nothing has changed. And we've said for many months we have no plans to launch search in China, and there is no work being undertaken on such a project. Team members have moved to new projects, a spokesperson said. And now a group of employees is raising the alarm that work is in fact continuing on the censored search engine after discovering code associated with the project, according to The Intercept. It is unclear whether the information uncovered by the independent investigation is a continuation of past work. Of course it is. The center associated with Project Dragonfly reportedly still has roughly 100 workers, indicating that there is still a budget for the initiative. And Pichai, who in October said the initiative was in the very early stages, pulled the plug on Project Dragonfly amid mounting criticism, including from employees who raised the alarm over the potential censorship and privacy staffers who were unaware of how far along the company was in its plans. Those working on the project were informed in December that they were being switched to other efforts. Google removed its search engine from China in 2010 after discovering it was subject to a cyber attack that targeted Chinese human rights activists. Still, with a population of 1.4 billion and one of the most lucrative consumer markets, the country has remained a priority for Pichai. So this is interesting. Now, let's go back and see what Q has to say. He has one more link for us to take a look at, so we're going to do that right now. I'm telling you, the computer's slow. Sometimes you just have to speak nicely to it. Google employees uncover ongoing work on censored China search. Google employees have carried out their own investigation into the company's plan to launch a censored search engine for China and say they are concerned that development of the project remains ongoing. The Intercept can reveal. Late last year, bosses moved engineers away from working on the controversial project known as Dragonfly and said that there were no current plans to launch it. However, a group of employees at the company was unsatisfied with the lack of information from leadership on the issue and took matters into their own hands. The group has identified ongoing work on a batch of code that is associated with the China search engine, according to 3 Google sources. The development has stoked anger inside Google offices, where many of the company's 88,000 workforce previously protested against plans to launch the search engine, which was designed to censor broad categories of information associated with human rights, democracy, religion, and peaceful protest. Interesting. In December, The Intercept reported that an internal dispute and political pressure on Google had stopped development of Dragonfly. Google bosses had originally planned to launch it between January and April of this year, but they changed course after the outcry over the plan and indicated to employees who were working on the project that it was being shelved. Google's Caesar Sengupta, an executive with a leadership role on Dragonfly, told engineers and others who were working on the censored search engine in mid-December that they would be allocated new projects funded by different cost centers of the company's budget. In a message marked confidential, do not forward, which has been newly obtained by The Intercept, Sengupta told the Dragonfly workers, over the past few quarters, we have tackled different aspects of what search would look like in China. While we've made progress in our understanding of the market and user needs, many unknowns remain and currently have no plans to launch. Back in July, we said at all our hands that we did not feel we could make such progress right now. Since then, many people have effectively rolled off the project, while others have been working on adjacent areas, such as improving our Chinese language capabilities that also benefit users globally. Thank you all for your hard work here. As we finalize business plans for 2019, our priority is for you to be productive and have clear objectives. So we have started to align cost centers to better reflect what people are actually working on. Thanks again, and your leads will follow up with you on next steps. Sources with knowledge of Dragonfly sources with knowledge of Dragonfly said staff who were working on the project were not told to immediately cease their efforts. Rather, they were instructed to finish up the jobs they were doing, and then they would be allocated new work on other teams. Some of those who were working on Dragonfly were moved into different areas, focusing on projects related to Google search services in India, Indonesia, Russia, the Middle East, and Brazil. But Google executives, including CEO Sundar Pichai, refused both publicly and privately to completely rule out launching the censored search engine in the future. This led a group of concerned employees who were themselves not directly involved with Dragonfly to closely monitor the company's internal systems for information about the project and circulate their findings on an internal messaging list. The employees have been keeping tabs. Let me see. I want to read all of this. Let me get to the bottom here. Who is this person? All right, I just don't know where the leadership is coming from anymore, he said. They have really closed down communication and become significantly less transparent. Well, I've always said, let me see here, what else is there? Oh, and Google didn't respond to a request to comment. Now, if you're not doing anything wrong, this is the way I always, what I've always believed. If you have nothing to hide whatsoever, you hide nothing. Nothing to hide, you hide nothing. If Google is doing something that it's not ashamed of and that doesn't care if anybody knows, then what does it matter if people know what they're working on? But I think their lack of transparency tells us everything. So let's go back and see what Q has to say about this. Did the fire in China cause Google to continue work from California? Well, obviously, knowing Q asks questions when he really means to make statements. So yes, the fire in China caused Google to continue work from California. Those awake can see clearly. Q. So that is quite disconcerting, because if they are developing something, for use in China, and sure, they could be used in China, but if it's used in China, it could just as easily be used on us, right? We know that Google's not on the up and up. I mean, they're definitely with the Democrats. So, yeah. All right, now we have one more, and that will be it for tonight. That will bring us up to date, unless Q has posted more. And if he has, I will catch those up tomorrow. But we have one more here, and this from Q has given us a link to Sarah Carter, her Twitter account, and I've gone and clipped that out for you to save us a little bit of time. And it's this: I don't have a recollection of being involved in the FISA for Mr. Page at all, said Loretta Lynch to Representative Goodlatte during December testimony. Former Attorney General Lynch appeared to have amnesia during December testimony about Carter Page FISA. Well, that's convenient, isn't it? Yeah, that's really, really convenient. Seems like a lot of them just can't remember. I guess they forgot to take their Alzheimer's medication. I don't know, but they all seem to have difficulty remembering things. So, that's interesting. Not exactly why Q is letting us know this, except that it is interesting. But he did. Former AG Lynch appeared to have amnesia during December testimony. Yeah. It was a closed-door testimony, and, yeah, couldn't remember. She doesn't know. These are the people that were in charge. Now you know why we're in such a mess. Yeah, these people have no integrity, no morals, no values, and they certainly don't love America, and they most surely do not love Americans, or they would not be doing the things that they're doing. So that is it for tonight. Now, I wanted to tell you guys too, make sure that you like and subscribe. If you want to be subscribed, make sure you are still subscribed, because they do drop people, and you know, they tend to, as your numbers are climbing, knock people off the bottom, because they don't want, they're trying to limit the exposure that conservative voices have naturally. You know, because we're a threat to them. So anyway, if you want to be subscribed, make sure you're still subscribed and hit the bell to be notified of future videos. Now, sometimes you have to check that as well, because I have hit the bell on certain people, or certain, you know, YouTube channels, and I go back and it's no longer there. They're not notifying me anymore. So anyway, the games they play. So if you, and make sure you hit the like, because the more likes there are in a video, the more exposure that it gets. So it does help. But if you didn't like it, don't hit the like button. I would never ask people to do that. So, all right, that's it. I will see you guys tomorrow, and I hope you have a good night. Sleep well, stay safe, and I will be back tomorrow. See you later. Good night.